Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll teach you about Gragas, the legless man. Seriously, where are his legs? What the hell did you do, Rito? Before we get into his abilities, Gragas can be played top lane and jungle. I personally prefer top lane, but to each their own, so I'll explain every ability's usage for top and jungle alike. So Gragas' passive is called liver failure. Whenever you cast an ability, you heal yourself for a bit, scaling with your max HP. At a static cooldown of 8 seconds, it helps you stay healthy while clearing the jungle, and gives you lane sustain, whichever way you swing. People often underestimate the healing you can pull off when you utilize it well, and about that when we get to his W. Gragas' Q throws out a barrel at a target location. It stays on the ground for the same amount of time it takes the average silver to notice they're getting ganked by the enemy or ally. The barrel charges up in damage, turning completely red once it reaches maximum ass shredding damage. You can detonate it as soon as it reaches its target destination, slowing enemies hit by a bit to a fuck ton. While the cask is charging up, the cooldown starts going down already, so you don't have to worry about that. The range of the throw is honestly very surprising. One time you'll think it can't realistically hit you, and then it does and you feel like a dumbass. Another time the enemy goes just out of range when you were sure it would hit. It takes a lot of time to get used to. But how should I use it, Kettle? Well, you impatient little guy, just wait up a second and I'll get right on that. If you're playing Gragas jungle, use this ability as a zoning tool. When someone is trying to escape your gank, throw it out in front of where they're going and they have a choice to either go through it, taking the damage, the slow and the L, or to walk around it, taking extra time and being extra vulnerable to skill shots. If you prefer to be a top laner, use it as poke in lane against anyone that doesn't have good sustain. Try to predict where the enemy is going to go, usually behind them. As a bonus, if they're in the middle, you can wait till they get to the edge of the barrel and then detonate it. This is honestly one of the best abilities to zone people away from minions. Having it stay on the ground for 4 seconds, being so big and maxing it first, the enemy has to make a choice whether they want to risk taking a big ass blast to the face or losing a minion or two. Fun fact break! Gragas is actually the third biggest thing on the Rift, with the first and second place being taken by Cho'Gath and your average mid lane main's ego respectively. That's because he spent a lot of time chugging barrels down like I chug gamer girl's sweat. How did he drink so much, you ask? Well, he used his W, Drunken Rage. Gragas takes a sip of his Milky, gaining some pretty cool damage reduction and becoming pink. After channeling, Gragas can slam his sippy cup down with his next basic attack, dealing bonus AoE damage and making the attack unstoppable. What does an unstoppable attack mean, you ask? Well, unlike a normal basic attack, this attack can be interrupted by any animation and the damage will still go through. You can cancel it with your E, Azanias. Basically, once the attack has been started, it's gonna connect, and the only thing you can do about it is pray that Gragas doesn't have too much AP, or he'll beat your ass clean. This ability has a relatively small cooldown and mana cost, so when you're in lane, have a sip every time your passive is off cooldown, and you can regen surprising amounts of HP. Gragas' E actually utilizes his weight for once. Gragas senses copious amounts of mass in a direction, at a fixed range. When he hits an enemy, he pushes them back to make way for his grand entrance. It also stuns. If he hits an enemy, and I mean any enemy he can, the cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds. While dashing, Gragas can cast Q and ult, which is very helpful for his combo, which we'll go back to later. This is your main engage ability, so make sure you'll hit the enemy, otherwise you'll be boned. I recommend going into practice tool for a bit to get used to casting it, because the hitbox is more drunk than Gragas himself. Compared to some abilities, it's a fairly slow dash, so using it to run away, while not the worst idea, robs you from using your E and therefore fighting for the next 16 seconds. Of course you don't want that, so what I recommend instead is to perform your full combo at the enemy, which, again, I'll get to, which procs your phase rush, chunks the enemy for a hefty bit of damage and stuns them, while also refunding part of your E's cooldown. Oh, also you can flash while dashing to hit everyone in the target area. Gragas chucks a big ass barrel to the target area. If it hits an enemy, they take some pretty nice damage and get knocked back to Guadalupe. That's really just it. It's a very versatile ability though. You can use it to get people off your case, to catch them out and bring to you, or just to split a team fight in half. Being able to force a squishy to miss position or flash is a nearly infinitely powerful tool. You can use it to get low health enemies away from the safety of their turrets, you can throw the enemy under your own turret if they're not careful enough, and you can even throw the enemy right into your charged up Q for bonus style points. Sadly, I can't say much about it, just remember that you don't have to predict the enemy's movement much while casting it, or you'll overshoot it. Hitting someone with the brim is just as good as hitting them right on the noggin, and if you throw it too close to them, they can just walk through it and get knocked back to safety. Gragas is one of the only champions in all of League of Legends who have a specific combo, but I won't explain it to you. Instead, Gragas himself will teach you. Take it from here, Graggy.
I'm on it.
1,
Have a drink.
2,
Get pushy.
3,
Roll out the barrel.
4.
Spill it.
If you didn't really get that, well, all you have to do is have a sip so your empowered attack is ready, then dash into someone with your E and cast Q while dashing. When you hit them, you can also use Everfrost if you decided to pick it, to have a guaranteed root on the enemy and thus having more time for your Q to charge up. It's a very strong bread and butter combo, so it's very important to learn it if you want to play Gragas well. Practice tool is your best bud for this. When played tough, he's good at bullying the enemy laner with quick bursts they can't fight back against, whittling them down and out-sustaining them with your passive. Phase Rush provides a perfect way to disengage from the bursts. In the jungle, he's a very strong early and mid-game ganker that can hold his ground to late game when played properly. Whatever you're playing, just look for skirmishes where you can use your CC to set up for your team to get them and yourself ahead. I don't want to tell you very specifically what you have to do, because I believe everyone can invent their own ways of playing a champion they like, and also because I don't want Gragas mains getting at my throat. Rune time! When playing top lane, you have a choice. When going AP Gragas, as I always do, you take Sorcery first. You can get Comet for better Q poke in lane, but I personally prefer Phase Rush for the quick hit and run playstyle. Then Mana Flow Band assures you stay topped with mana, especially if you don't build any mana items. Transcendence for ability haste and the cooldown resets, both of which Gragas likes a lot, then Scorch for more Q poke. Secondary runes are always funny shoes for more mobility and less cost in your build path, and cookies to sustain people even better. If you prefer tanky Gragas, which is very niche and honestly not that exciting, or if you just want more powerful trades, you can also get Grasp. For jungle Gragas, you need to be able to gank well, but your dash is slow and short and stupid, so what you do is you pick Predator and shred that half ton of living mass up there. Item wise, I mentioned already, you can go AP or tanky. Tanky is a pretty off meta and unpopular build, but if that's the way you swing, I won't judge. So for AP, you want to get either Night Harvester or Everfrost. Night Harvester amplifies your burst and lets you run away, working kinda like Phase Rush. I already told you about Everfrost's synergy with your combo. Then Zhonya's is very useful because besides being single-handedly the most broken mage item and the W tech, it can let you wait on some cooldowns. Overall, just like get AP items, not a hard decision. Tank Gragas goes Frostfire Gauntlet or Cam Tank with Thornmail and Spirit Visage in most games. After that, buy tank items adaptive to the enemy team. Join my Discord server, man!